Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Manifestation Baddie. It's so good to have you. I thought I would get into the swing of things with answering just a few questions. So I've just had a little skim of what people have put in the community chat, which is awesome. I'd said that I was going to go live today, and what is something that you're struggling with, something that you need help with. And I thought, okay, let's tap into the minds of the fellow YouTube community and let's just address a few things, which is going to be good. So. Someone said something that they are struggling with is overcoming negative thoughts. Okay, overcoming negative thoughts. My approach to this is it's a bit of a balanced approach, okay? I'm all about the manifestation, I'm all about the mindset stuff. A lot of the time, though, there's truth. There's truth in these negative thoughts. There's truth in the reason why you're being triggered by something. It's hitting something within you. That's why you're personally getting upset by something, because maybe there is room for you to grow. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to look at it from a few different perspectives. I don't want you feeling you have to battle your negative thoughts constantly, okay? Because remember, your thoughts are literally an invitation for you to teleport yourself to another version of you, into another state, another reality, another mindset. That's what your thoughts are. So whether you deem them as negative, or whether you deem them as positive, that's all they are. That's all they are. So with that in mind, remember, you are not your thoughts. Okay. You are the observer of your thoughts. You get to select whichever one you want to be like, right, cool. That's the thought that I'm going to identify with. That's the thought that I'm going to marinate in. That's the thought that I'm going to accept. That's the thought that I'm going to normalize. You get to decide that. You're the one who has control of that. So that's the first perspective. Okay. The second perspective is, so, is there some truth to these negative thoughts though? Is there some room for improvement here? Okay, I'm not feeling good enough about myself. Okay. Is there areas that I could be looking after myself a little bit more? Could I be eating better? Could I be exercising more? Could I be drinking more water? Could I be going to bed? Could I be saying no more to people? Am I being a people pleaser? Am I having really awful negative self talk whenever I look in the mirror and I think I'm like disgusting? Maybe there is some things, practically speaking, that I need to stop doing, that I need to change, that is contributing to me normalizing this belief and this thought and this assumption that I am not good enough. That's why it's hurting me, because I'm continuing to reinforce this belief over and over and over again. So it's one thing for people to be like, it's one thing to do the belief work and to make sure that you are carving out intentional time to really be reinforcing these new beliefs. But sitting there saying to yourself, I'm gorgeous, I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, when it's not really hitting, like it's not really doing anything for you, then I would encourage you to shift your approach and start looking at, practically speaking, how are you showing up for yourself? Maybe this affirmation that we are continuing to reinforce isn't really doing anything for us. It feels too far away, okay? It's feeling too resistive because we're going from one extreme to the other. Okay, what's another thing? Again, I've literally just skimmed these questions and I'm riffing to you. When it comes to negative thoughts, I would then question them. I would be doing it in a really playful way. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's how I think that's what's happening? No, 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 no. I think this isn't happening. And I would challenge him. I wouldn't start freaking out and thinking, "Oh my goodness, I've messed up. I've wavered. Now I've ruined my manifestation." You don't want to be doing that. You want to look at it for what it is and then decide whether you are going to accept that or not. And you can do it in a really playful way that takes the sting out of it, that takes the power out of it. You can laugh, you can make fun of it. Oh, okay, so I think I'm a piece of shit and I think I'm the scum of the earth. Okay, interesting. That's funny. That's interesting. And I'm really going to accept that? I don't think so. Like, start playing with it, start questioning things, take the power out of it instead of going, oh my goodness, like here we go again. I thought I worked on this limiting belief and it's like returned, blah, 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 blah. Don't do that to yourself. I could rant forever about people being so entitled and so freaked out that when they think that they've worked on a limiting belief and it resurfaces, then they start losing their minds. But that's a whole other story. Okay. So there's so many different ways, just even your definition of what is negative and what is positive. You're assigning meaning to that. Okay. Maintaining emotional stability in the 3D. What has worked for me? One, getting very clear of what I actually want. Okay. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to show up as? Getting very clear of that new story and that picture. Very, very important. So that when stuff's happening in the 3D that isn't in alignment to the vision, then I'm just not going to take this personally. And that is a daily decision. Sometimes, if it's very triggering and very challenging, it can be a moment to moment decision. So, you want to have a very strong vision of what you're actually moving towards, who you're stepping into, so that it's easier for you to do that. The skills that you need to the skills that you will learn along the way of your manifestation journey are required for you to maintain your manifestation. You can't just think that, oh, I'm just going to say these affirmations. And then once the manifestation comes in, I'm going to go back to old self. That's not how this works. The manifestations are only one part of this journey anyway. You need to be showing up as a new version of yourself. You need to be clocking old self habits. You need to be choosing differently. You need to see life through a different lens. It's not just learning how to drill affirmations in your head, it's making those affirmations your actual beliefs. Okay. It's seeing life as, oh, I actually am in charge of this. I'm the one that life happens through, not to. It's being able to see things through a very different lens. You just now see life through a law of assumption lens. Okay. In regards to maintaining emotional stability, if you need to be incorporating more of like nervous regulation techniques like breath work, meditation, EFT tapping, um, drinking water, going to the gym, exercising, getting enough sleep, all of the things that you should be doing anyway. Amazing, incredible. As you continue to go along this journey, though, things will get less triggering because you'll have worked on a lot of the foundational beliefs, right? That if I'm ever triggered, it's slight. It's not as often because I've moved from this beginner phase of manifesting where I had all of these beliefs that I wanted to be shifting. Now I've moved into a more of a maintenance phase with manifestation where we just continue to refine. We continue to refine, tweak, implement. That's where you want to be aiming towards and moving towards. This work happens very quickly. And at the same time, this work is forever until the day that you die, because there's always going to be something else that you want, another level, even if it's like another level of stability, another financial level, another level of confidence. There's always going to be something else that you're wanting to normalize and integrate. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling also another thing that I'm just thinking about in regards to emotional stability. It's also realizing that you get to decide to be any version of yourself, right? Any version of yourself. So you're continuing to decide to be the version of you who's triggered. You're continuing to decide to be the version of you who's confused, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, who can't let go of the old story, who finds it very difficult to manifest. You're deciding to be that version of you because you continue to return to that state, return to that mindset. Normalize this. You're getting distracted in the, oh, this is so hard. This is taking forever. I feel really unstable, blah, blah, blah. Instead of doing the actual work to come back to a neutral space, okay, reinforce new beliefs, check for any old self habits or patterns that we don't want to be doing anymore, deciding not to do those and start moving powerfully in life and move through the world in a really powerful way. It's all a choice. It's all a choice. It's self-awareness and choosing differently. It's self-awareness and choosing differently. Okay. And this gets to be really, really fun as well. What I would say to everyone though is one last thing in regards to emotional stability. Please, please continue to live your life. Like, continue to live your life. I don't want you locking yourself in your room, looping affirmations and rocking in the corner, going crazy, just saying the same thing over and over again. You're not seeing friends. You're not eating well. You're not exercising. You're literally isolating yourself and saying no to living life because you have to do your technique. No, don't, please. For the love of God, do not be doing that, okay? What does that teach you? That the only way that you can self-regulate is by locking yourself in your room and rocking back and forth in the corner. Like, be the person who literally can hold an uncomfy feeling and still move about their day and still get stuff done. Like, ultimately, that's where you want to be. That you're not having to like lock yourself in your room, isolate yourself, put your whole day on pause, say no to everything because you have a funny feeling inside of you and you've triggered yourself by interpreting something in a wonky way. Like, don't do that. Even if someone was being an absolute gronk and super rude to you, feel the feeling. But the goal is to feel the feeling and then continue to move on with your day, not stay in bed for the rest of the day, cancel work, get rid of all your responsibilities because you can't handle that someone was being an idiot. No, don't do that. Okay. Like, this is all about empowerment. This is what we're doing. Okay. This is a longer question. I haven't read this, but let's have a look. I personally really struggle with faith, knowing that it's done, or that I can have this specific experience when it comes to time crunch manifestations on any matter. Okay, so what I'm going to say to this is if you're struggling with knowing it is done, what I would encourage you to do is make sure you're changing the beliefs though. If you're just saying like it's done, it's done, it's done, but you don't feel like a different person, you're not thinking like a different person, you're not showing up as a different person, then you're not doing the work. You're just saying it's done. And that's cute, but like it's not doing anything. So that's important that you have a process that's actually shifting who you're identifying as, shifting the assumptions, shifting the beliefs, shifting the story, whatever you want to call it, your self concept, how you see this person, how you see money, how you see success, like all of it. Like you're actually doing the work and then going, yes, and I've done my part. Now consciousness is the 3D is going to reflect me, and I know consciousness within me is manifesting. It's not the techniques that manifest. It's you. It's you. It's the consciousness within you that's manifesting. The second thing is when it comes to time crunch manifestations, you do not have logical time to be wavering. Let's be real here. If you've decided to put an arbitrary deadline on something, you got to be on it. You have to be on it. You don't have time to be going back and forth fucking around. Like you really need to stay loyal to the vision. So if you're going in and out, then get rid of the time crunch. You need to be really disciplined when it comes to a time crunch manifestation, like really devoted to it. Start creating evidence that time crunch manifestations are a thing for you. They're very easy for you. You can do that. My question to you, though, is does it need to have a deadline? Or are you just, is the underlying fear that you can't get what you want? And that's why you've inserted a deadline. You probably will say it's self-concept thing, and I agree. Well, it's more than that because I'm not a coach who's just like, it's self-concept because it's self-concept in relation to this topic. Like I don't think people are understanding what self-concept is and that, oh, it's just self-concept. Okay, you're saying you're cute, you're beautiful, and everyone likes you. Amazing. But like, who are you being in relation to money? Who are you being in relation to relationships, in relationships? Who are you being in this job? Who are you being in relation to this person? Like, what's your identity? What's your self concept in relation to this topic? It's more than just general self concept of how you see yourself. Because you might think you're great, but if you're seeing this person as being a dickhead and a gronk and the old story, then you're continuing to identify as a version of you who's having that experience with that version of that person. So it's like, this is a holistic approach. You need to make sure that you're changing the story about, especially when it comes to SP, it's you, SP, and your story about relationships. All three need to have shifted. And a bonus is the fourth is how you see manifestation, how you see life. I don't exactly know how to build myself into the area and practice lesser important manifestations isn't an issue for me. And of course, avoiding the 3D due to thinking of how much longer do I have to put up with this stuff. So everything that I had said is make sure you're actively doing the work though. When you are doing the work to shift your perspective, your focus will be off time. It just generally will. If you're focusing on time, you're not in the state. Okay. You're not in the state. And let's be real. So don't gaslight yourself. Be like, oh, I've been doing the work. I've been doing the work. But every single day you've been focusing on where is it? Where is it? Where is it? We're off. Like the approach is off here. If something is really in your face, one, your safety is always going to be important. Okay. Number one priority, practically safety, number one priority. The second thing is it's like you don't need to ignore something. You just don't need to be intimidated by it. So you can be saying to yourself, this is the last time I'm ever going to be experiencing this. And then do the work to however you need to handle the 3D is however you need to handle the 3D. And then be changing the beliefs about what is happening. Because again, I don't know the context of what is happening, what beliefs are at play here. You need to be changing how you see yourself in relation to whatever's going on. And if there's another person involved, blah, 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 blah. Like you want to actively be changing all that story. And like I said, when it comes to a time crunch manifestation, you need to be so devoted and disciplined because you've decided. No one else. I don't care if you think that this deadline is put in stone, like you're deciding the deadline. If you're putting a deadline, you got to be on it. You got to be devoted to it. No ins and outs, umming and ahhing, because you're just going to cause frustration for yourself. And then you're going to clock up more evidence for your logical mind that this isn't working. Manifestation doesn't work. Time crunch manifestations don't work. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. So really be devoted. You want to have a time crunch manifestation, you got to be on it. Me personally, I've played around with time crunch stuff. I don't think it's like particularly hard. But when you realize that things can happen like this, things can shift like this, and this work is forever, and the focus is so much on you. And when you really shift your perspective, you naturally just feel better. Like you naturally just feel better, and you're not catastrophizing and dramatizing everything. And sometimes uncomfortable conversations are part of the bridge. Sometimes removing yourself from the situation is part of the bridge. Sometimes saying fucking no is part of the bridge. So, like, let's not think that we have to zip our mouths and just close our eyes and that's how we're going to deal with things. Like, you get to handle the 3D in a really powerful, confident way. That's why I'm never someone who's going to be like, oh, well, like, just don't say anything, just pretend it didn't happen. No, this is a manifestation of old self. So I'm going to deal with it how new self would deal with it. Some things are so beneath you that you don't even need to address it. It's like, ugh, this isn't even worth wasting energy addressing. Other things you feel called to address and you should be fucking addressing, okay? If you do say something though in the 3D, don't have inner arguments in your head. That is today's video. That was a good 16 minutes of just me riffing on these questions. So thank you so much to those who had put in the questions. I will see you sometime again this week. I'm going to continue to make this a normal thing. I know I've said this before, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've got my new setup now, so that's good. So I will see you soon. I had the best time in my Confident Creator membership today. That was at 10 o'clock, and it was so good. In the next coming weeks, we are incorporating a daily accountability group as part of the membership. I trialed it in February and everyone loved it. So I'm going to do that moving forward in the next couple of weeks. So each day you're plugging in, letting us knowing that you have been on your process. And also there's a few more things that I want people doing. So they're also ticking that off as well, just so that I can make sure that everyone is doing the work. And go figure, but those that do the work actually see progress because they're actively changing themselves, which is amazing. And that's what you want to be doing. So if you're someone who has just been binge watching manifestation content after manifestation content and not doing anything about it, I'm sorry, but you're not manifesting, okay? You're just binge watching content. So I am calling those out and calling you forward and in getting you to really apply this, like really apply this work. Just because you're watching content doesn't mean you're doing jack shit. Like, you may as well be fucking watching Netflix, right? Like, you're not consciously manifesting just because you're watching content. You need to be applying this on a daily basis, So if you're sick and tired of consuming a million different videos and then still getting the same results, your approach is slightly off. So come join the membership. My one-on-one spaces will be in the description below, and I will see you in the next video. Toodles. Bye.